Hello there, YouTube. It's been a long time, but I feel like this video needs to come out. I'm here to give you a warning, a cautionary tale about the dangers and the horrors of infinity. This is the Gundam Artemis from Bandai's new Gundam Infinity line of little action figures, so to speak. And this was the only one I picked up. I will not be picking up anymore. And honestly, the Gundam Artemis is such a cool design from the GWGB video game that it is a crime that this is the only representation of it that's out there. I mean, yeah, you could customize it and make your own, but come on. How Bandai hasn't made this yet is astonishing. Now, I'm going to be bringing up this age rating up here, 4+, in a little bit. But also, straight off the bat, I'm going to tell you guys, avoid the Gundam Infinity line. Avoid it like the plague. This is not good Gundam merchandise at all. But allow me to tell you why. This is the Gundam Artemis. The, I guess you could say the main Gundam that you can get in the GW, GB, or GB, GW, I forget which one, on your phone video game. It is a customized Gunpla from that video game, based on the Destiny and the Gundam X, as you can see. However, that awesome design does not translate well into this figure. And if this is the standard that the Gundam Infinity line has, then it is a bad standard. Just going around, you can see that the figure is very, very white, whereas the Artemis has a ton of blue all over its main body, which they got right up here, but the legs are completely devoid of any of the blue. He should have some blue right up here on the side skirts. The entire front part of the crotch right here should be blue with some like vent detailing. Like this piece is the only part that should be white on the crotch. The detail is very soft. There's not a lot going on here, and the plastic is very pliable and rubbery. Like, look at that. I should not be able to do that with a joint. In terms of its plastic quality, it almost feels like very early MSIA, like the mobile suit and action figures that came out around about the time that Toonami was airing the Gundam shows on here in the States. Those came out, those figures are great. Those are really fun. This is not fun. This is horrendous. But closing in on its detail, you can see its face sculpt is very mushy. There's no like sharp defined points here. You can see where the little cheek scars are supposed to be, like right there on the Destiny face, but they're very, very barely seen on there, and there's no paint in it at all. The sides are very dull. It's just the detail is very like gummy almost. Like this plastic did not take to the molding very well. About the rest of the body, the molding and the detail is just very soft and not very good. Like I wouldn't even want to panel line this. The plastic does not feel like it would take to panel lining very well. But the only redeeming thing about this whole thing is that its design is really cool. But that's credit to the video game and the designers of it from there, not this thing. Now, let's go over its paint. There is a lot of paint that they applied. Not very well. The yellow in the chest is very thin. You can almost see the blue like directly underneath it. It's not very good. I think the gem here is a separate piece of plastic, but it looks like toffee, so not a fan of that. And the paint up here on the collarbone part is supposed to be clear plastic. On the Gunpla model in the game, it is painted here and it looks bad. It's not even clean. Like, it's very, like, wishy-washy. The paint here on the beam boomerangs, which are non-detachable, you cannot take them off, is very bad. The spraying right here on the handle, you can see they didn't get all the way around it. And it's also very thin. If you look up there in this detail, you can see the white directly underneath it. There is no paint on the cuffs where it needs blue. And there is paint on the joint, which is not all the way around. The back of the joint is completely bare. That's bad. There's a little splotch of paint right here on the knee that's supposed to represent the gray detailing. That's not good enough. And the same thing with the knee joint. They painted like that part and that part, but the side is completely white. No paint in the foot. It seems to be two different pieces of plastic slapped together. And yeah, the only bit of good paint on this is in the satellite cannon, and it's still not great. Oh, and also the front skirts here. They're very, you can see they're uneven. They're not applied the same angle. Makes it look very sloppy. And the plastic quality doesn't help any. So you can't really fix the paint issues because I don't know how paint's going to react to this type of plastic. Now, for some of the worst parts about this thing, it's articulation. Its head's on a ball joint. It can sort of move up and down. That's as high as up as it's going to get. It can go side to side a little bit. It can rotate. And they have little safety nubs right here on the antenna, but the antenna are wicked floppy and prone to warping. So that's not fun. The arms are on ball joints, and it goes from here to there. That is the maximum range. The armor can twiddle around, which is okay, but if that's as far as it goes, what's the point? It can rotate at the ball joint on the arm. There is no bicep swivel whatsoever. None at all. It can bend at the elbow, one joint. That's it, and it feels like you're flexing it when you go further than this. You can go to there, but it feels like the joint's about to pop apart. The hands are on ball joints. Congratulations. The torso is on a ball joint. The skirt armor all the way around is one massive rubbery piece of plastic. So you can flex it out of the way. Which you think, oh cool, that will give you some movement. But then you pull the leg out and it goes like, boom. Nothing. The spread is there. And you see there, if you want to spread it, they'll spring back. No thigh joint whatsoever. It's just a ball joint right there. It goes back that far, and then it gets sprung back down. The side skirts don't even touch the legs. Not that it matters. You can't get much of a spread. The knee joint is right there. And again, it feels like it's only supposed to go to there. You can force it to an almost 90. But that's as far as it should go. And its foot is on a ball joint that can go forward and back a little bit. Tiniest amount of tilt. Just barely enough to get the A stance. And it can wiggle around on the ball joint. The backpack has a hinge joint here, sort of. It's on a peg. There's also a peg right here. And the wings, alright. The wings can swing around and open. And there's a good piece of paint. Some nice looking silver on the inside of the panels. However, whoever did this did not put a coat of gloss of any sort on top of it, so it's kind of dull from a distance. So even the good piece of paint is bad. The cannon itself is missing a ton of paint. It should have some blue on the sides and a lot more gray. And this is a separate piece of plastic. I thought it could slide out. It cannot. It's glued in there. And might as well get to how you mount this thing on the back. So first off, you have to take it off. You cannot open the fins up without taking it off. And you just rotate that around, take the cannon off, put it on top here on this little peg, and then mount it like so. And that's it. And this is as good as the articulation. This is as good as the articulation is going to allow you to do. By the way, there's no stand port. You could probably use that hole in the backpack, but why would you? Ugh, this thing's just so bad. And I'm going to take this off to show one of the worst parts about this. So for this line, one of the things they advertise on the back of the box is that you can make your own custom Gunpla. Your own custom Gundam, I should say. This is not Gunpla. So here you see they swapped a bunch of parts out. However, there's also a Build-A-Figure in this line, in this wave. And it's the Zaku 2, which if you're going to start this line out, why are you going to make the Build-A-Figure a grunt? That makes no sense to me. But that part aside, considering that they want you to swap parts, you would imagine that the Artemis here, which comes with the Zaku's head, would be compatible with the Zaku head. However, you take that off, put this on there with considerable strength, and it'll hold. It'll hold until you move it. Until you move it. And then it goes from, hey, look, the Zaku head, and oh, no, it's beheaded. Throw that away. But even if you wanted to get into the customization part of this, the base component of the figure is really poor. It's just, there's very little articulation that is usable. It has the elbow joints, I guess, but what's the point? Also, this one has open hands for holding stuff. It doesn't have anything to hold, but I guess you can give it a weapon from one of the other figures if you plan on getting more. I don't recommend it. But if your main gimmick out of the box doesn't work with the Build-A-Figure piece that it comes with, that's not promising for your line. Now, I mentioned before I was going to talk about its age rating, which is 4+. It's like, oh, you know, these are for kids. Kids will enjoy these. No, they won't. They will not enjoy these. A 4-year-old will not enjoy this. A 4+-year-old will not enjoy this. It's so nothing here. There's no fun to be had. The customization does not work out of the box, at least with the piece provided. So you have to purchase more than one. The joint tolerances are really bad. Like, if you can see right here, it looks like the joint's about to spread apart and that little plastic pin is not going to hold it in anymore. If I had any weapons to put in its hand, it would drag down the elbow. Like, that's how loose that is. So the joint tolerances are bad. The detail is bad. There's almost no good paint on this at all. Really, there's no redeeming qualities to this thing. And again, I'll go back to the the 4+ range of age. You can do way better for Gundam merchandise for children than this. You can get them a Gundam Universe figure. I think that's what these prefer. Gundam Universe. Either way, they're a little bit more expensive, yes, but they are fantastic little figures for kids. They're not the best by any means. They are pretty jank, but they look good, they feel good, they articulate decently, and they're just a way better option than this thing. Or, if you're getting it for a younger child, and, you know, you want a good product, you can get the entry grade. Which, yes, it's a kit, it's not a figure like this one, but this is designed for ease of build and great product out of the package. Also, here you can have a little size comparison. The entry grade is 1/44 scale. So this is a much smaller scale. Nothing, it won't fit anywhere. I'm ranting because this is not a good toy, and I want people to understand it's not a good toy. It's not a good toy for a collector. It's not a good toy for a 4-year-old plus. It's just bad. Bandai failed here. I can't find a single redeeming quality from this. And if this, like, singular design from the line, which you can only get in this form, isn't good, I have no hopes for the rest of the line, which has a RX-78, a Wing Gundam, a Gundam Astray, and a Gundam Barbatos. So it makes sense. These are all the, like, mobile suits that most Americans are going to enjoy. They will love these series. However, most American 4-year-olds have no idea what any of this is. So, again, I don't know where the market is for this. I'm sorry, it's very ranty, this review, but I feel like I need to let my emotions on this figure be known, because I spent $17 on this, and I feel like that was $17 too much. If this were like in a crane game or something, or if it was a like $5 figure, I'd be a little bit more lenient on it, but it's in the range of like $15 to $17, and for that price you can get 2 entry grades. This is like $6 right here. This is the baseline RX-78 that has no accessories, but the full package version is coming out, and that's only like $10, I believe. But it can't even hold its accessory right. When it plugs in, it feels like it wants to come out. It doesn't plug in all the way. And this is literally the only pose you can do of it. There's nothing else. Just save your money and get something better. And if you're looking for a toy to get for your kids, get something better. Go out and find a transformer, like a core class transformer. You should be able to find within the same price range as this thing, and it's gonna be leagues above this in terms of quality for a child. But anyway, that was my overlong and a little bit, no, it wasn't over exaggerated, but it was a rant on the Gundam Infinity Gundam Artemis, a failure of a figure, and hopefully a failure of a line. If we never see another wave of this, I will be happy. See you all later.